Hi, Lucy Connolly, political prisoner or a racist, or maybe both. What's your opinion? Lucy Connolly lost her appeal today. She's now serving 31 months or complete her 31-month sentence for a single offensive tweet. A tweet that she did delete just 3 hours after posting it during the emotional fallout of the terrible Southport murders. Her defense argued she was traumatized both by the brutal incident and by the loss of her own child 14 years earlier. Do you believe her? The controversial tweet, they say, incited anger and contributed to the riots near a migrant hotel. Where do you stand on this? Let's get talking. It's the John Gaunt Show. Good evening. So, a grieving mother, a deleted tweet, a prison sentence of 31 months. So there's the first question. Was the sentence right for the amount of time, for what she did? Listen, I'm not going to argue. The tweet was offensive, but she took it down. So should she have gone to prison at all? We're going to discuss that. And likewise now, has she not been in there long enough when you compare her to other people? Is Lucy Connolly a threat to public safety? I want your comments. Is she? What do you think? Or has she been jailed as a warning to the rest of us? Because what happened today with her losing her appeal could happen to anyone who hits post on their mobile phone or tweet on their computer. Do you see where I'm coming from? I am not justifying what she wrote. I'm just saying, what point is there in her still being in prison? Couldn't she have been given a community sentence in the first place? And why is she there now? This is going to be controversial, let me tell you, because I'm pointing the finger at you, Sir Keir Starmer, at you, my friend. I'm not saying that you're in bed with the judiciary, but we can't ignore the fact you were the director of public prosecutions for 5 years, because you never fail or get bored of telling us, do you? So, is there a kind of chumocracy? Do you remember that word? When, was it Tony Blair or was it? No, it was Cameron, wasn't it? He had a group of people around him who all had similar beliefs. They weren't necessarily in the Conservative Party or the Labour Party, but they were all mates. And I'm saying because he comes from that background and he did want harsh sentences. Do you remember the things he said during the riots? Is there an element of chumocracy here and an element of basically telling us, the plebs, that they're firmly in control? I would like your opinion on that. Now, Lucy's legal team today argued that she was traumatized, not just by the brutality. And remember who's the real villain in this? Axel Rudakubana, who the government knew about. He'd been stopped by Prevent 3 times. Not stopped, sorry, that's the wrong word. He'd been referred to Prevent, but he was still allowed to go on and murder, slaughter 3 girls in Southport. So the villain is him. It's not Keir Starmer and it's not Lucy. She wasn't planning a riot. She was, I guess, just venting. Is that the modern word? Grieving. But when she got arrested, the duty solicitor advised her to plead guilty, like many of the others that day, to avoid an even harsher sentence. By the way, I will take views on Tommy Robinson. He's going to be freed next week, but I don't want to get too distracted into that. I want to concentrate on this housewife from Northamptonshire. Darren Rowbottom on Facebook says, "Evening, John. Good evening. You got a comment to make today, my friend? Where's my next one? Joe Tosca says, no, prison was necessary. Now, sorry, I'm not sure of that with the grammar. Is that no prison was necessary? There's no need for prison. Or do you mean prison was necessary? Let me hear your view. Just correct me on that. Dark Angel says, no, she isn't a racist. It was just a terrible mistake. She deleted it when she realized the content or the impact it might have. I think we've all done that, haven't we? We've all written a tweet or we've reacted, and then we go for a walk, we calm down, and we realize you can't send that kind of stuff. What do you think? Is she being used as an example? Let me hear your views. Robert Becker says, hope Tommy Robinson has learnt his lesson and that he will never waste another day of his life in prison. I think the thing with Tommy is he clearly has, because the judge is persuaded he's not going to come out and libel or go against the court action again. I think they're all giving us a message by keeping her in prison, that we've all got to keep our mouths shut, says Denise Deacon. I think that's a very good point indeed. I've got the actual court case on my phone here. She told the judges that despite conversations with her legal team, this is from Sky News, she had not understood that by pleading guilty, she was accepting that she intended to incite violence. Basically, they said, look, you're going to go down for three and a bit years here. If you plead guilty, that'll be 40% off, a year off at least. So I think if I was in that situation, I might have made that mistake as well. I might have said, okay, and then not realized by taking the plea bargain, I'm actually saying, yes, I'm guilty of inciting the riot, which is what a lot of the lefties have been saying today. I think it's rather unfair. I do. And I know there's a couple of other tweets they found in her background, which they say is racist. But forgive me, when did the police or indeed the judiciary become the people in this country who decides what's racist or not? This is a slippery slope. And this is why it goes into free speech, my friends. I'm again stressing what she wrote was deeply offensive. I've said things that are deeply offensive. Should I go to prison for that? No, I don't think I should. Especially when we put this in the light of the fact they released a load of rapists, muggers, and violent criminals last week, and they're going to do more next week because the prisons are overcrowded. What is the point of keeping Lucy in prison? Let's keep taking your views. Evening, John. I think the clear and relative comparison that can be made is between, this is a really good one, well done, Chopper, is between Lucy Connolly and Ricky Jones. He was the Labour guy. Both similar comments, although different platforms, but very different process handed down. Yeah, now Ricky Jones is the one in London who said he thinks, or he thought, that people should have their throats slit. He was a councillor of some standing, so he understood the legal process. So he didn't take what I'm calling a plea bargain from the duty solicitor. He said, no, I'll have my day in court. So, of course, it's dragged on, and people are saying, why on earth hasn't he been in court yet? Well, it's because he's going for the full Monty, which is his legal right and would have been Lucy's too. I genuinely believe her when she says she didn't understand that by saying, yes, I plead guilty, that meant she was going to be up on the charge of inciting violence. But I'm going to go further. I don't think she did incite the violence. I think the violence had already kicked off. I believe she was venting, she was grieving. I think most people that day were, I remember watching, I was completely entranced, and also totally horrified by what we were hearing. Little girls had been to a dance class, a Taylor Swift class. It was beyond comprehension. So imagine how that would affect you if you'd already lost a child. And I don't think the 14 years thing is anything to counter it with, because the loss of a child just dying naturally before you do, isn't that every parent's nightmare? You're watching the John Gaunt Show. You're listening to the John Gaunt Show. If you like what we're talking about, you're interested, please press the like button on YouTube on the video. You can do it on Facebook as well, and also on Twitter. I'm here every day, Monday to Thursday at 6:30. I sometimes do extra shows as well. And if you like it, please feel free to donate a bit of cash if you can. You can do it on YouTube. Just click that heart button, or you can do it by going to www.patreon.com buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt, and you can do that at any time of day or night. Right, back to my narration and my kind of thought process in this. That one tweet, are we really meant to believe sparked all the chaos? Hadn't it already kicked off? Because this was the second day. I remember that day. Keir Starmer, I was watching it on Sly News or GB News. What happened was he came in a car with some other officials. I think, what's his name was there? The useless Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper. He laid a wreath and then somebody shouted out, excuse my language, wanker. I think it was that. Shouted that out at him, and then he left. He didn't quite run back to the car, but he'd obviously decided he shouldn't be there anymore. I think that wound up people as well. There were angry protests, and that escalated into that awful violence at the migrant hotel. And there's no way I'm ever going to condone or justify that, because that's just damn wrong. It's like when we talk about asylum or we talk about the Dover dinghy boys, you can't pick on the individuals, can you? They just want to better their lives. Well, who you can blame are politicians, successive governments who haven't dealt with it. You can't possibly blame the individual. Well, that's my view anyway. The authorities, the courts, the law, the government, the police, all of which are meant to be separate from each other, are all singing from the same hymn sheet. They say that Lucy Connolly's words incited the violence. I say bullshit. I can't see that. I think I can see many factors coming together to do that, but I can't see it's her one tweet. And the fact that she took it down straight away. Maybe she did deserve a custodial. Maybe she should have gone away for 8 weeks. But to keep her away now from her child, isn't this just cruel? Isn't this just cruelty? Isn't this just something we'd expect a third world country, if we're going to use that term, to do? It's not what we do. It's not what it's what a banana republic does. That's what it is. And I think she is being used to shut the rest of us up, so that you're worried what you say to Starmer, which again is why I say, please help to fund me. We've never needed the independent media more than now. Let's go to some more of your views. Anne Newsom, I think that's your name. No, I don't think she should have gone to prison, John. Thank you, Anne. Mick Smith, one of my oldest listeners. Good evening, John. Do you think that her appeal failed because she's married to a Conservative councillor? Mick, thank you. I wrote that down on my notes. I've got a couple of notes tonight. One of them was this thing about the chumocracy. I don't normally have notes, but there you are. It's my medical letter, actually, from the doctor. But I think you might be onto something, Mick. I think you might be onto something, because he was a Conservative councillor. I also worry about the fact that the police and the judiciary have looked at her other tweets and they've made their mind up. Oh, she's a racist. I just think she's probably a working class woman who's expressed herself bluntly and badly. I was thinking about my best mate Dave as well on holiday at the moment. He sent me a tweet the other day, or a meme, and I sent one back to him. If anybody ever got hold of them, I'd be up on a charge and I'd be guilty. But it's just banter. I don't think what she did was just banter. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want bewigged buffoons deciding what our freedom of speech is and where the line is. I do think a custodial sentence of a short time, a couple of weeks, would have been fine. But not as long as she's going to be in. 31 months for one tweet. Chris Faulkner says, I think government should be sacked. Well, I don't really know what you mean by that. Well, all of them. Thank you, Mick, for your comment. Angie Barnes says she should not have been sent to prison for putting something on Facebook or Twitter. Most people think and say stuff when we get angry. You're absolutely right, Angie. Of course. And we can't be judged on when we lose it, can we? I mean, okay, that MP, he lost it and punched that guy. He could have killed him. Just remind me about him, Mike Amesbury, the MP. How long did he go to prison for? I'm taking the PISS now. He went for one night because he knew the judicial system. So he got himself lawyered up, and they also appealed, even after he'd been sentenced. He didn't go to prison. Why did Lucy Connolly? And if we think about the lady outside the courts with the scales, Mistress Justice, isn't law meant to be balanced? And you can't use one person to set an example to put off other people, can you? That's not law. That's not right. That's the reaction of a banana republic or a fascist dictatorship. I don't think that's what the UK should be. If you disagree, get on the comments now. If you agree, then press the like button and feel like free to donate me to keep these going. I'm going to probably get locked up at the end of this one. Carl Eves, and I know he's an ex-copper. I hope you don't mind me saying that, Carl. He's one of my regular listeners. He says the sentence was way over the top. The problem is, if someone with a perceived, with a perceived right-wing angle, you get hammered. If it's a left-wing angle, you get a slap on the wrist. The establishment are all left. Carl, I couldn't have put it better myself. They're progressive, so they can, all of their opinions are progressive, aren't they? They're all woke. They're all culturally correct. The law should not be an instrument which recognizes class and used as a weapon. Now, don't get me wrong, because I've got to be a bit careful here. I'm in no way suggesting there's been a conspiracy where your man Starmer got together with the judges and said, send her down for as long as you can. It isn't that. In a way, it's worse. It's a ruling class, as they're all doing up their rainbow laces. They've all got the same views. I've told you about common purpose. My wife, Lisa, was the first person to go on a common purpose course years ago when we had our theatre company. We all thought it was a good idea because it was people from different parts of the community and voluntary sector working together. And she enjoyed it. She did things like going in a prison, a maximum security prison, etc., etc. But that's mutated into something else, common purpose. Did you know you can't get past the rank of sergeant unless you've been on that course? And I think what it does is group think. I think this is why you end up with coppers skateboarding with those lunatics from Just Stop Oil. And when I call them lunatics, I don't mind what they're trying to do, but when they hold a whole city to ransom, that's wrong. And a copper should be dealing with them just like he deals with anybody else. It's why the Palestinian protesters get away with murder. But if the Countryside Alliance or the Tractor Boys recently come to London, you just know it could kick off. I don't blame the individual police officers. I blame the system, the uber liberals who run it. Freedom of speech is sacrosanct, says Kip 99999. I agree with you, mate. Of course there's free speech, and of course no one's got the right not to be offended. We all accept that. And we all accept, don't we, normally, that we've got to be careful. We're not going to just say things deliberately to hurt people, to incite people. But I guess she didn't understand that. But I think she probably does now. In fact, I had a bit of that on my phone. Hold on. Lord Justice Holdroyd, he was the person listening to the appeal, he found her to be intelligent and articulate and was therefore, he says, unable to accept that she entered a guilty plea with no understanding of what it entails. I disagree, mate. I just disagree. Her husband has said, look, my wife's not a racist. As a childminder, she took care of small children of African and Asian heritage. They love Lucy as she loved them. My wife has paid a very high price for making a mistake. I think a mistake we might have all made that day. That's me adding that bit. And today the court has shown her no mercy. Lucy got more time in jail. Here's the killing line. Get ready to react. She spent more time in jail for one tweet than some paedophiles and domestic abusers get. If you get the chance, look back at some of my old podcasts. I make the comparison between her and that filthy pervert scum, Hugh Edwards. He was looking at pictures of children as young as 4 being penetrated, being abused. Did he go to prison? No. He got a suspended sentence. Mr. Connolly, that's her husband, believes the system wanted to make an example of his wife to ensure they were scared to say things about immigration. This is not the British way, he said. He went on to say, the 284 days of separation have been very hard, particularly on our 12-year-old girl. Lucy posted one nasty tweet when she was upset and angry about 3 little girls who were brutally murdered in Southport. She realized the tweet was wrong, deleted it within 4 hours. That did not mean Lucy was a far-right thug, as Prime Minister Keir Starmer claimed. Well, let's go back to the Prime Minister and let's go back to some more facts, shall we? Because this is really interesting, the next thing I'm going to tell you. Feel free to keep commenting. I'll come to you in a moment. Feel free to donate. Feel free to press the like button. It's since been revealed that Keir Starmer withheld information about Axel Rudakubana, the monster who killed these 3 little girls. So this is where the plot thickens. When those people were attacking that migrant hotel and saying they want to burn them out, and she said that in the tweet as well, and she said, if it makes me a racist, so be it, right? She did say these things. However, maybe you can begin to understand it. There was a rumor going around saying that he was a Muslim and he had just got into the country on a Dover dinghy, so to speak. It was untrue. We found out weeks later. But here's the rub, and I've told you this many times, and no one disputes it. Starmer and Yvette Cooper, our Home Secretary, knew on the first day. They knew exactly who he was. By the second day, they would have been told by Secret Services, my God, we found ricin in the house and a terrorist manual. Oh, and we've looked him up. He has been through Prevent 3 times. So Starmer then would have probably said, why the hell was he still on the streets? I guess. No one's got an answer. One of the excuses that has just come out is that somebody spelt his name incorrectly. Well, I do understand that. But haven't they got a spell checker? Doesn't it just flash up if the name's not right? I was trying to remember how to spell it today. I kept getting corrected. It's bullshit again. Starmer, and I've said this for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I'm probably one of the only people brave enough to say it. And I said it before his terrorist star came out and said it. I said him not telling people could have contributed to the riots really kicking off. Again, I'm not saying that would be the only reason, just like I can't be unfair on him. I just said Lucy's tweet can't be the only reason. But why did he keep quiet? Why didn't he say, why did he try to pretend he was a child? He was a week away from being of the legal age. He could have said, look, there's a lot of nonsense on the internet. People are saying he's a Muslim. People are saying he's just come to the country. He hasn't. But he kind of gave this idea he was a sweet choir boy from the valleys, didn't he? He should have said they are migrants. They are immigrants who came to the country, but they've settled in our country, working hard, da-da-da-da-da. Can we stop the nonsense now, please? Can we stop it now? Now, I know there's some dispute as he become a Muslim since, but it's a Christian. That's basically what they had on him, right? But we don't need to get into that. The point is, when he laid that wreath, he must have known. He must have known it wasn't a new arrival. So he could have calmed things down or attempted to. What did he do? He hot-footed it back to London in his armour-plated car. And then he called every white person in this country who was concerned about this a far-right thug. I personally don't think Starmer's ever recovered from that. That was certainly the beginning of people despising him and hating him and also making him the most unpopular PM on record. I mean, today, he's been trying to sell this nonsense deal. There's no deal, by the way. Just like the American treaty, there's no deal. There's no actual facts in it. But he wants us back in the EU. But he's not brave enough to do it, so he does it in a devious way. And today, he had a press conference. He'd gone to Aldi or Lidl, and he comes out and he says, Oh, yeah, most of the staff, they were so excited about the passport thing. He traded our sovereignty. Yes, I'm going off on the one, but I'll be back. He's traded our sovereignty so we can get on a plane quicker. And if you don't believe me, have a look at some of the adverts they've put on Facebook and Twitter today. They've taken a mickey out of Jet2 or whatever it's called, that holiday firm. You'll get there quicker because you'll get through passport. I mean, do they think we're stupid? I agree we want it to be quicker, but it won't be necessarily. But I don't want to trade our sovereignty for that. Do you? So why didn't he tell people? And it's not just me criticising him. His own czar of terrorism said that was a mistake. Chief Association of Police Officers, or whatever they're called, they said the same thing last week. So I pose one question. Could transparency from the start have prevented the riots? Let's have your opinion, please. Where we go next? Chris Faulkner, we've always been proud of free speech. Starmer's took that away. Thank you very much. This must be an American, I think. Kip, he says, you guys shouldn't have ever given up your guns. Do you know what I mean? I agree with you, mate. I think we should have the right to carry arms. I really do. I really do. So I'm with the Americans on this one. And when people says, oh, that just means that the villains will tool up, well, so what? Darren Cummings says, evening, write a nasty tweet, 31 months. Have photos, hang on a minute, I'm getting lost here. Wait a minute. Have photos of a kid, nothing happens. It makes no sense. He's talking about Hugh, what's his name? Hugh Edwards. Filthy pervert. Suspended sentence should have been enough, says Mick in Frinton-on-Sea. I thought we were short of prison places for real criminals. The people of Rotherham have had grooming gangs in their community for decades. That's why it kicked off against the police, because the police have got a bad name there. Well said, my friend. Well said. Well said. I think all... Zach Woodward, will you just get lost? Hang on, let me just ban this guy straight away. Just wants the attention. There we are. Off you go. Craig McKenzie, the system can't be seen to back down now, even though the judgment was way too harsh. It's ass covering. It's doubling down. Well, maybe, or maybe not, because actually, Craig, they've today said that Tommy is going to be released next week. Tommy Robinson. Dark Angel says, you're talking about Hugh Edwards. That's correct. Hugh Edwards. Where should we go next? He did say, for all I care, when she said about if they burnt the hotels down, they can murder them all. For all I care. She wasn't inciting. However, Starmer's actions were despicable. I think they caused it, says Craig McKenzie. I'm not so sure about that. All I do know, it wasn't one single factor. Anyone else got an opinion on this? I mean, it seems like we're getting loads and loads of comments. Come back to you in a couple of minutes. Let's just reflect on this a bit more. Don't forget. Oh, by the way, thank you. Everyone's pressing the like button. I've certainly tickled your fancy so much tonight, so to say. So feel free to do that. If you're listening on repeat or you're listening on a podcast, feel free to like it, please. The podcast as well. It all helps the algorithm think that the show's popular and therefore they push it even further. That's the way YouTube works. And also, like I say, I'm doing this off my own back. I'm trying to get my career going again. You know what I'm doing. But I don't get paid for it. So all your contributions go towards fueling the next lot of podcasts. So if you do value what I'm doing, please make a donation. You can do it now on YouTube. Click that heart. And I think you can offer anything from £1 or a couple of quid. Or you can do it on buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Right, where should we go next? Oh, no, let's go this one first. Sorry. Denise Deacon says Tommy Robinson is another political prisoner because he says things that a lot of us are thinking, but shows up the governments and their agendas. Yeah, I do agree with that overall, apart from he was wrong to show the film after he was told not to do it. So, and I've said that to his face. So, you know, don't call me out on that. However, his sentence was too long, of course. And I know it was in solitary, but that was because they say to protect him. But yeah, there's a feeling of political prisoners. I don't think that's good for our democracy. And you notice Starmer's not said anything about this case at all. Not a thing. Personally, somebody said to me, "You're always going on about Starmer. Why?" I said, "Well, when he stops acting like a prick, I will stop. But at the moment, if you don't think Starmer and what he's trying to do to this country is important, you're listening to the wrong podcast." Erratic behavior, extreme views, prejudiced actions, a potential danger to those around them. Why hasn't anyone reported Starmer to prevent? What a brilliant, brilliant comment. That's Chopper Mac 25. Thank you, Mac 50. I do apologize. What's this one? Evening, John. Starmer is a traitor to our great country. I called him that myself yesterday. His time is running out, slowly running out. As Wolfie said, power to the people. I used to love that, Citizen Smith. You're absolutely right. He's going to get hammered in the elections. There's no way he's going to hold on as Prime Minister. They'll dump him soon. And did you see him today? I don't know if you saw the comments today. The way he keeps putting down Kemi, I know she's pretty useless, but there's no need for it. He's being a bully boy. That's what he's being. He is a bully. I'm convinced of it. And also, his whole attitude about this, I've got it right, when he clearly hasn't. Because what people are most concerned about is the Dover Dinghy boys. And he's doing jack shit to sort it out, isn't he? Really, if we're being absolutely honest. What have we got next? Craig McKenzie, very true. I guess it was, let's say, maybe the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah, perhaps. Her tweet was one of them. But does she then deserve 31 years? I don't think so. 31 months. Mick in Frinton-on-Sea. From October, Europe airports starts face recognition and fingerprinting for entry for everyone. So e-gates will be the same for all. Yeah, I know. That's from Remainer Simon Caldwell, the travel expert from The Independent, and he said the government are talking rubbish. Well, I would rather believe him than Keir Starmer on this subject, because the absolute bottom line is, Denise Deacon, thank you, my darling. She's just given me a super sticker on YouTube for £4.99. Thank you very, very much indeed. It's much appreciated. I'll make sure I read out your name on the next couple of podcasts as well. And just to get in on the act, I see Dark Angel has just done the same. She says, here's a £5. You are worth it, John. That's very kind of you, Dark Angel. Thank you very, very much indeed. What was I up to just before that? Oh, yeah. The face recognition will take over. You're right. And is he really trying to make us believe that we all want that more than anything? All those tosspots in Westminster, in Labour, when they want to go off to Tuscany to drink their Chianti and go skinny dipping and wear their Birkenstocks all day and all night, that might matter to them, but it don't matter to us. I want my kids and my grandkids, if I had any, to be safe when they go to a dance class. I want my Prime Minister to say, yeah, we know who we think has done this. I'll tell you the truth about it. This is where we are so far. Let's play compare and contrast again. Now there's been 3 people arrested for setting fire to his car or his ex-car and his houses. I've lost track. How come it's okay to talk about that and what their background is and therefore suggest they were rent boys? I don't know if they're rent boys, but how come that doesn't prejudice the trial? But no one was allowed to mention Axel Rudakubana. No one. And this conspiracy of silence is still going on. What's your views? I'm finishing it in a minute, honestly. I've just got a couple of more things I just want to say before then. So it looks like Starmer withheld information. So we have to ask, is this Lucy Connolly case all about justice, or is it about making an example of someone who's vulnerable and happens to be married to a Conservative county councillor? Why are people convicted of far more serious crimes going to be released early next week? You might have a mugger next to you, or a rapist, or a sexual offender, a paedophile. Why are they being released, but Lucy remains behind bars during a UK prison crisis, which, to be fair to the Labour Party, they haven't caused. It was caused by the useless Conservatives before. And where do we draw the line between hate speech and free speech? Should the police monitor tweets, or should they just police the streets, to use a cliche? It's a cliche because it's true. I don't think it's a copper's job or a judge's job to decide where free speech is. I was involved in theatre, as you know, and we used to have a thing called the Lord Chamberlain, who would decide how many Fs you could have and how many Cs you could have. I wrote a play called Hooligans about football. It went on telly with Yorkshire TV. We had conversations. This was after the Lord Chamberlain. Conversations about, I'll trade you a F for a C. Just nonsense. Just nonsense. But I don't want judges or the police to do that. And then I don't want them to have the power, because you've said something stupid, to investigate your phone. No. Police the bloody streets, not the tweets. It's obvious. And we are going to be letting out people who are seriously dangerous, not some woman who just lost it and got angry. Am I right or am I wrong? So I ask again, is Lucy Connolly a racist? Or is she a political prisoner? Or is she maybe both? Punished for expressing anger in a moment of total trauma. Trauma that we were all feeling that day. Was it real justice, or was it censorship? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down the bottom of here. And don't forget to like, share, and of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's free, by the way. This is more than a case. It's basically a very important conversation about who gets to speak and who gets silenced in Starmer's Britain. And I'll tell you something now. It's getting pretty scary. I'm not a conspiracy guy, as you know. But this guy is so authoritarian, he thinks it's his way or the highway. And I just think that is very, very dangerous. Craig McKenzie says, no way does Lucy deserve it. At very most suspended. Personally, I don't think it was a criminal offence. Well, I don't know enough about the law to answer that for you, Craig. It just seems to me to be too harsh. Dark Angel, she can finish us off tonight. No, she's not a racist. It's just the people are frustrated with everything that's going on. Yeah. I wondered that today when I saw Starmer in Audi or Lidl, wherever he was. I bet that's the first time he's ever been there. If he came down my local Friday and he had a listen to what we're talking about, I don't know anyone who's happy with him. Everyone is totally pissed off. And I've got friends who are very, very successful business people, and other people who are just mates from years ago, and other people who just do ordinary jobs, or like me, are just bumming along trying to make a crust. We're all unhappy with him. I was pretty unhappy with the last lot, but he's taken it to a new level, hasn't he? Because he's a liar. He's a liar and a fraud, and he's not told us the truth. The same thing with this I saw Terry Christian. I know Terry really well, but he said, it was all in the manifesto. And then he quoted the line. It's the vaguest line ever about how they were going to rebuild relationships with the EU. It wasn't, and we're going to give away our fishing industry. We gave away our fishing industry yesterday just so you can get through the gates and get to, not Benidorm, it'll be Tuscany, won't it? That's where they want to go, yeah? But they've got this idea that really matters. See, that's why he's not working class. It's just totally, utterly bonkers. And he's just not showing any sign of giving up. He just keeps saying, harder, faster. I think he's talking about politics. And why is there all this conversation about who's been attacking him and his house? Don't get me wrong, I don't condone that either. But we weren't allowed to talk about Axel Rudakubana. Everybody knew who he was, right, in the media. But he'd be sent to prison. And because of what happened to Lucy and to Tommy Robinson, people are a bit scared. And I tell you the worst thing about that. Then people go, I'll tell you later, Gaunty. And you go outside to the pub where they're having a fag and they'll tell you. Or they'll take you to their house. So it just goes underground. It doesn't disappear, you idiot. And people are frustrated. People are really, really fed up. Britain is a tinderbox. I said this a few weeks ago. It's going to kick off soon. And the more arrogant you are, and the faster and the harder you go, Sir Keir, the worse it's going to be. It's time to admit the mistakes you've made, like the winter fuel allowance. You're now softening us up that you're going to drop it. Just bloody drop it. Just say, hey, I made a mistake. I got that one wrong. Really sorry. Let's move on. Do you know how to apologise? Or are you a typical middle-class tosspot who thinks apologies are only for the real working class? Because you're not a working class. Your dad owned the blooming factory. Nothing against that. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. No doubt he worked hard. But don't make out you're a toolmaker or the son of a toolmaker. The only part of that is right. That's right. Is the first syllable, isn't it? Tool. Anyway, I've had enough. Thank you for everybody who's contributed money tonight. That's really, really good. I'll be back tomorrow at 6:30. I've not even had my tea tonight. I'll be back tomorrow at 6:30. Still going to be here looking after me doggies. And we'll have a chat then. There's bound to be loads more to talk about. If you want to get in touch with me subsequently, do it via YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or wherever else you fancy. And thanks for supporting me. And thanks for helping me to get back on my feet and to find my voice again. Because I think it's important. Because the way Starmer's behaving, I just don't think he's going to give up. And if we're not careful, he's going to subjugate us all. Everyone's going to be petrified, scared of their own shadow, and he'll just push through anything he wants. He's just overturned Brexit, for God's sake. 18 million people wanted it. We had weeks and months and years of talking about it. In one day, he got rid of it. And then all the commentators today are saying, oh, yes, forget Brexit, it's gone. Why? He's no more important than me. He's just sold my country. Well, he didn't sell it. He gave it away to the French. And have you noticed there's no detail of what we're getting back? Oh, we might be able to bid for some defence contracts against the French. So we're not going to win that, are we? Absolutely outrageous what is happening in this country. And I say, for one, free Lucy Connolly today. What do you think? Let me know. I'm knackered. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you to everybody who's pressed the like button. Keep doing it, even though we're finished. And I'll speak to you tomorrow at 6:30. Until then, if you have got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.